Alrighty, we should be good to go.
Nice, nice. Right on time.
Yeah.
Well, I guess a week
Nearly.
late technically, but
Yeah, and 2 minutes late.
the clock could be off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Every clock could be off.
I screwed up daylight savings.
By 2 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, how's it going with you, Sam?
Pretty good. Pretty good. How you doing? Up to anything fun?
Did a nice 10-mile run yesterday.
Dang.
That was pretty fun. This one was flat, so I didn't feel like like I could still stand up afterwards.
It didn't feel
Which
like
was
you're dying.
No, it did not. Granted, I was still a little sore, and obviously took a day off today to recover, but that's pretty nice. It was good weather. And honestly, today I've just been playing a lot of Monster Hunter
Yeah.
with some friends.
There's a new one out, right?
Yeah. We've been playing through the new one. I'm very slow with it.
Yeah.
You get ranks whenever you level up in the game. I'm currently Hunter rank 11. My friends are Hunter rank 50 something.
Jesus. Is
So,
that like Dauntless? You remember that game that we played all of
Lord, that's I barely remember that game. But yes, you find individual monsters.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Dauntless was based off of Monster Hunter.
Yeah, Monster Hunter definitely came first.
Yes.
The first one came out on like the PlayStation 2.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, fun game. Jump around. I'm a hammer main, so I just bonk monsters on the head.
Very nice.
So yeah, fun time. How about yourself? You do anything fun?
Did some chores. Got a crap load of work done on my car. That's always fun. But yeah, nothing crazy. I'm trying to get my consolidate PCs. So I've got a server PC I run stuff on, and that was running at 100% disk at all times. So
you paid for the full PC. Use the full PC.
Well, I've got a spare solid state in another one that I'm gonna try and take out. My old desktop PC that's just been sitting gathering dust. So I finally got that hooked up, and I'm in a setup now where I can have multiple things plugged into my monitors, so because they have multiple inputs on the back. So the server PC's hooked up to one monitor through the unused port, and my old PC's hooked up to the other monitor through my other unused port. So now all I got to do is change the input, and I don't have to have extra monitors or screw around with the setup or anything. It's pretty nice. Mouse and keyboard, not as easy. I have a spare set that I'm just moving back and forth between them, but it would be nice if what I want is I want to have like switches that I can like switch my whole computer setup to the other PC. So like it changes the mouse input and to that PC, and it changes all of the chords. But I think that's a little above my pay grade. I think that'd be expensive to set up.
You should switch to an entirely voice-activated mouse and keyboard setup.
Oh, screw that.
So you're playing a game, and you just say W, W, left click, W, left click.
S, I'm an A!
No.
Like those guys that play Call of Duty with a recorder. Have you seen any of those?
Like the instrument?
Yeah.
I didn't know that was possible.
There's some crazy. I mean, it all comes back to the DK bongos. That's easy, but there was somebody who hooked it up so that they could put in different inputs based on the tone they played on a recorder, and they got a headshot with it.
Man, that's. I mean, I brag about that all the time.
Yeah, it was. People put a lot of effort doing things that it's like, why?
We do not do it because it is easy. We do it because it is silly. All right. Well, you want to jump into it?
Yeah, I've been pretty boring here. I've got nothing else, so we can get on into it. If I can find my, where did I put my? There it is. Had to find my notes. Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Audio Shop podcast. I'm just now seeing that I forgot to change the title of the album here, but I'll fix that in a second. This week we are reviewing Justice by Justice. They came up when we were listening to The Weeknd, because they did the first track on that, and I had checked them out, and I was like, you know what, this is pretty good. Why don't we do them?
And thus here we are.
Yeah. Speaking of that, first Weeknd track has been on loop for the last 2 weeks on my phone.
It is one of the stronger tracks on that album.
Everything up to the drop. I really love the opening, so I'll just listen to it on loop. Very good song. But this is I would say their most famous album, right?
Oh yeah, I would agree. This is, of course, we're talking about the band Justice, which is a French electronic music duo, only one of its kind. I dare you to name one other French electronic music duo.
Yeah, I'm sitting here, I'm struggling. There was something, what was it? Something funk related.
Something daft, something. It was pretty daft.
No,
I do recall.
No, daft is a British word. That doesn't make sense. Why would a French band be?
Giraffe Funk, I believe, was their name.
That sounds right. Yeah.
The only album to have negative sales. People returned it. No, it's a French electronic music duo. I'm going to butcher their names. Consisting of Gaspard Agui and Xavier de Rosnay. Imagine that was pronounced right.
No, I don't think it was, but I don't think anybody's going to correct us.
But yeah, kind of known for incorporating their rock and disco influences in their music. This is their album. Well, it's called a couple things, because technically the album's title is just the cross symbol, right?
That's on the cover of every single one of their albums.
Correct. This one's just called that. But so sometimes it's called Cross. A lot of like online platforms just it's self-titled, so Justice. For convenience, we're just going to be calling it Justice.
Yeah.
Instead of the cross symbol. Right. This isn't like a.
I don't know how to vocalize that symbol.
This is like a the artist formerly known as Prince situation. This is bold for your first album. You know, Prince was like 20 albums deep by the time he made that. So, yeah. You know. But this is, like I said, just his first album, released back in 2007.
2007.
2007, as they say. And received pretty out the gate critical and commercial success. It was number 11 on the French charts. Was nominated for the best electronic and dance album at the Grammys. Certified gold, you know, so it did numbers. Especially good for a, electronic dance album.
Yeah, I mean, they had some tight competition.
That's true. They're in the top 2 of French electronic dance duos. Hey, it's a hard competition. Yeah. And they've this, like I said, this is their first of 4 albums. They released a few over the years. The most recent one being one released last year, actually, after like a 8-year hiatus. So they're still active in the music community. But this is the one that started it all.
Yeah. It definitely doesn't feel like a debut album. Although often debut albums are pretty big. I was reminded that Maroon 5's best album was their first the other day.
That's true. I mean, it's not uncommon for like a band's most famous, you can argue about quality, but most famous album being their first. They kind of got onto the scene.
There was a quote I saw, and I'm not going to be able to attribute it, but it was your first album you have 5 years to work on. Your second you have 6 months.
That's true.
So,
right, if you're ready, we'll jump right into it.
Get on into it with track number 1.
Track number 1, Genesis.
Get it? It's the first track, Never mind.
Sorry, I don't get references.
Oh, okay. Life must be hard for you then.
It's my New Year's resolution to not get references.
Not understand references.
Yes.
It's an odd resolution, but whatever floats your boat.
What's a boat?
Hold on. That's the part of that you didn't get?
Oh, you referenced it.
But this starts with like this big grand brass intro. It kind of builds up, and it ends on a leading chord, and then it drops into the rest of the beat, resolving the chord, and with this really nice sawtooth bass line.
Yes, and you know what? I'm just gonna get out of the way now. There's gonna be some Daft Punk DNA in this album.
Oh, what are you talking about?
I know we were kind of joking and skirting around it, but I think this is the immediate first comparison anyone's gonna make.
Yes, and even because I had talked about, I had been listening to this previously after we listened to The Weeknd, and I had mentioned during the Spare Tire a couple weeks ago that I started this album, and then it just, after a couple songs, it just made me want to go listen to Daft Punk. Because I was like, that's familiar and cozy, but I've listened to this enough now that I'm like, okay, it's not just immediate. I want Daft Punk from listening to this, but I want this now.
Yeah, and it's not a ripoff. I'll make that clear. Obviously, they're both, French music duos that make dance electronic music.
Yes.
Within the same time frame as well.
Yes.
So there's going to be similarities.
Well, Daft Punk's a little bit older.
Yeah, Daft Punk started around late 90s. This is from 2007. So certainly the influence is there. And they'd actually even done remixes for Daft Punk before this album. So they'd even, professionally worked with them. So, but there's definitely differences that we'll get into as we go throughout the album. That it's not just like, this is a lesser Daft Punk album.
Yeah, they have their own style. You can definitely read the influence, but it never feels derivative. But we get that bass line, that sawtooth bass line stays really nice and loud in front, but occasionally you get some variation of the song around it, and some elements come in to the front. Not the biggest fan of that weird squeaky door noise that keeps coming in. I will say that.
Yeah, this is certainly, I think one of you said earlier, saying that there's trance elements here. I think that's definitely a little more applicable than, say, Daft Punk, where it really leans into the building and repetition and kind of like even those like staccato beats that progress along the song and kind of those more off-kilter sound samples as well. I think that's kind of not, unique because a lot of artists do it, but it's certainly prevalent on this album. Is extensive use of samples.
Yes.
So it's kind of mixed in with the music as well. So
yeah, they do a lot of sampling. And this one, they have some samples, and then when I initially listened to this, I was picking up on some of the elements that could be tied to the biblical name, like a little bit of rattle in the back that could have been like, ooh, it's the snake, but I didn't catch that as much on this listen.
How many albums do you think they sampled here, Sam? If you guessed a number.
Oh, on the whole album or just the song?
On the full album.
Full album? God, it's probably in the hundreds. I'm gonna guess like, I want to say at least 250.
Honestly, not too far off. 400
okay,
is what they've said.
Dang it! That was my gut. My gut reaction was to say 400, but I'm like, there's no way it's that high.
Okay. Because a lot of them are very like micro samples, right? Actually, 400 samples across 12 songs.
There's one later on that was a little more heavily sampled, but we'll get to that. I did a bit more research in that one, but yeah, dang, okay, that feels right. There's a lot of just little bits that pop in every once in a while, and even on some of the later tracks that we'll get to, it's they take a whole lot of really short samples and put them together. Because where Daft Punk they'll base like a song on another song. Like, oh crap, what's the ELO one? I can't remember.
I do not remember.
I can't remember off the top of my head. When I hear it, I know it. But there's like they'll use a song as the base, and they'll cut and move that around, speed it up, slow it down. But they don't really do like 8 songs into one. This one is like there'll be a little bit here, there'll be a little bit here, and they'll have like 10 or 15 really quick samples over the course of 6 seconds to create the beat, which sounds really cool. And they do some even self-sampling later on, which is interesting. But yeah, I can believe the 400.
Yeah, it's I mean, obviously a vast amount, and a lot of them so small that, I mean, unless you're really coming through it, we're very familiar with the music.
Mm-hmm.
You it's hard to pick out what's original, what samples. So integrated very well. Would you like to move on to track number 2, Sam?
Sure. Yes, we can jump to track 2.
Track number 2, "Let There Be Light," following Genesis.
Yes, they definitely.
If I got references, that would be clever.
Definitely leaning into the biblical naming, at least on the beginning and the end of the album. This one was the one that I was thinking of when I said trance. This one definitely has more of that repetitive, lull you into just kind of the sound.
And the sound itself is this mixture of, aggressive drum lines, which are present throughout the album, but also this, not screeching, but like high-pitched whirling synth.
Yeah, it's got a bit of Wurlitzer on it, and it's a really harsh sawtooth, almost so much so that it almost hurts. But it's an earworm. And then you get the best way I could describe it was the squeaky balloon bass line. Or I guess it sounds like a contrabass oboe as well, a little bit. That kind of really woody ringing, but distinctly electronic.
Yeah, and then as the song progresses, it kind of builds up more and more around this, warbly, sawtooth synth, where like this, pretty melodic, like backing melody comes in on the bass line, which all eventually kind of drops out for a much more sparkly, and lighter keyboard touch.
Yeah, you say it's about a minute from the end. Isn't there someone else I'm thinking of? Miracle Musical, ringing any bells there at the end in the last minute?
Okay. I'm pretty sure this album came out before that one.
Listen, my entire life is based on what I experienced before this point. Just because my experience is linear doesn't mean the order in which they were released was. So.
I guess that's fair. That's how humans operate. But all I'm saying is maybe Hawaii Part 2 did not invent a song having a shift in the middle of the song.
What are you talking about? That came out in 2011. That was forever ago.
When music invented.
But yeah,
but it is a nice switch.
Yeah, and it doesn't feel too weird. There's some other tracks where that there is that shift, and it's like, ooh, that doesn't really fit. But this one, it feels like a resolution to the kind of harshness that we were getting with the synth. Kind of bright, round, shift to more major chords. It's a nice finish.
Yeah, and it leads right into the next song if you're ready, Sam.
Yes.
Track number 3, DANCE.
Some real nice funky bass here. You can tell the disco inspiration they had, and I believe this was an homage to Michael Jackson, right?
Yes, it was very heavily Michael. Like a lot of these samples aren't necessarily like pulling from single artists, but I think this one really pulls from like Music and Me and ABC by Jackson 5.
Oh, it's based on ABC by Jackson 5.
But it also has references to, I'm just reading the list here, Pretty Young Thing, Black and White, Working Day and Night, Whatever Happens. So really just a bunch of extrapolations from those samples.
Yeah, and they spell things because DANCE. They also spell PYT, Pretty Young Thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I would like this one more if I liked the main vocalist, but they're a child. It's kind of annoying.
That's the Jackson 5. That was their whole thing.
I know. I can't. I'll be honest. I'm not a big fan of Jackson 5. I find Michael's vocals when he was that young pretty annoying.
It is pitched a little. What's the phrase? Sour.
Yeah.
Or I guess like maybe intentionally, but it plays with it a little bit.
There's a like on the end of the chorus line, you can kind of tell that the kid couldn't hit that note. It kind of falls off a little bit, and I was like, fair enough. But it was just like, I don't understand why this is like the most popular song on the album. That's what I'm getting.
Yeah, that I don't personally get. I mean, I guess it makes sense that it's Michael Jackson's popular, so
and it's
a song that's heavily sampling him, and it's a dance song. It's literally called Dance.
Yeah.
Type it into Google. Hey, okay, right. But it's fun. Obviously, it's centered around the vocals, which is kind of unique for this album. And they're sampled vocals too, which is fun. Good pairing of like violins, and obviously very danceable and light compared to the first few songs, which a lot were heavier and electronic.
Yeah, almost industrial at times. I will say I'm not a big fan. There's a dropout around the 2:45 mark, which I like, but the 3:40ish mark, where it like seems to start what is a transition to the next song, only for it to fade completely. It's like, why was that there? Maybe it was like because at the start of the song they have the rolling, like you're tuning a radio. Maybe they switched it to another channel at the end. I don't know, but I didn't feel like that worked.
Yeah, it's a little bit of odd ending, a little regal sounding.
Yeah,
I dare say, but it does lead into track number 4. If you're ready, Sam.
Yep, I'm ready.
Track number 4, New Jack, which goes into the more glitchy elements of synth samples.
Yes. They're kind of like nonsensical sounds, I would say. But they're cut in such a way that makes it really sound really odd, but fun.
Yeah, it's a very not chipmunk vocals, but like obviously using the vocal samples as instruments as opposed to vocals.
Yes.
Right, like individual notes.
Yeah. Which gives it a really interesting sound. My biggest complaint with this one is there's some like weird bloopy addition there in the middle that sounds like a phone notification. And that's kind of really the only avenue of growth they have for the entire track. And it's the same every single time, and they use it a lot. It's like, okay, after the 4th time, I was getting a bit sick of it. And by the end of the song, I'm like, okay, stop using that sound.
I mean, it's an interesting, it's almost video gamey, and
yeah.
When it's paired with like this, like I'll describe it like a Tesla coil, like electronic sound, like zapping lightning. So it's an interesting beat switch. And certainly the vocals come back in the back half after that break.
Yeah, I just would have. I felt it didn't fit the best with the rest of the sound that they were making, and it was used heavily and stuck out like a sore thumb because it didn't really fit super great. So I don't know. That was the only part of the song I wasn't a fan of, but the rest of it, I really liked the really quick samples to make something where that beat didn't exist before.
Fair enough. Want to go on to the next track if you're ready?
Track 5.
Track number 5, Phantom.
And sorry, go ahead, Coop.
I was just gonna say it just starts with this very low-coded, vocal line distort in the background before the percussion breaks in.
Get some nice electronic buzz noises rolling over from the last track as well. And a little, some little bits of samples here too. Yeah, they had 400 to shove in here. They're gonna be places.
Yeah, this one's a little sparser instrumentally.
Mm-hmm.
It obviously keeps the flow of like a fun electro song, but it's a little I don't know, I guess very focused on the electronic part.
Yeah, this one is very industrial, especially after the 2-minute mark. And the vocals come back, for the lack of a better word. They, like you were saying, they're very vocoded, I assume, if they're not filtered or something. But that harsh buzz is driving the show for the second half of the track.
Yeah, which honestly I'm not against. I kind of like how harsh it is, and it pairs with like the bass line in an interesting way too.
Yeah, I agree. But I think track 6, if you're ready.
Track number 6, Phantom Part 2.
Yeah. Here's where I would, if I had it ready, I would throw up the picture of Daniel and Cooler Daniel. You know that meme?
Yeah.
Phantom Part 2 is just cooler Phantom. It still has the electrical. Oops, sorry, smacked my microphone. Still has the electrical buzz, but there's more of a main melody here, in addition to some strings giving it a bit of a classier vibe. It feels like a more put together version of the first track.
Yeah, and obviously it's a direct continuation,
yes.
Right? There's basically no delineation between the two. That synth line, that's like super like bassy and like melodic. I mean, The Weeknd basically made 3 albums out of that.
Yes,
that sound.
Yes.
So, and especially when it like kind of in the middle section where like the violins come in, and like everything becomes like kind of a little more light and heavenly. It's like, yeah, you could literally just take this track and just put. And The Weeknd could just like riff on this like vocally. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to tell it wasn't a Weeknd song.
Yeah, it's really fun, and it, like I said, it has more melody to it, and then there's a breakdown around the 2-minute mark, with some really deep synth sounds that are really round. I can't really place my finger on it more than that.
Yeah, honestly, I think that's something I appreciate about Justice is the fact that they're willing to, I guess, give a song texture, for lack of a better term.
Mm-hmm.
Just like, even if it's like a little grating or like deep or like warbly, like they'll give those synths like some spotlight. And you wouldn't typically have something like so like disjointed as like what you have on like New Jack or like Melodic Line on Let There Be Light,
Mm-hmm.
where like, they're like not grating but like disruptive. And they play with that pretty well.
Yeah. I will say I don't feel that this song ends as strongly as it starts. But it's way better than track 5, just Phantom.
Right. Which, taken together, they're basically a single song.
A single song, yeah. They just didn't want to put what would it be, like a 7-minute song?
Come on. They have a 14-minute song in their second album. So, obviously they didn't that didn't stop them from doing that, but but it does go on to track number
7.
Track number 7, if you're ready, Sam.
Yep.
Valentine.
I don't know if you got this, Coop, but the synth at the start of this one really reminds me of some classic rock song, but I cannot remember it for the life of me. I'm assuming it's Beatles because that's what my gut's telling me, but
I know what you're saying. I couldn't tell you what it was either.
Because they have another track. I don't know which album it's on, but the start is the start is basically a carbon copy of For Those About to Rock. So I know they pull inspiration from classic rock.
Yeah. I mean, obviously there's a lot of disco influences, as Dan showed. Mm-hmm. But yeah, there's certainly some classic rock, and I'm talking kind of maybe the more 70s era.
That's why my gut's saying Beatles, but I don't know.
I don't know. I always pick up more of an ELO vibe from it.
Well, ELO is what the Beatles would have been.
Exactly, and ELO already incorporates a lot more electronic than the Beatles did, which is probably why I'm thinking of them. But just have this like very sparkly synth kind of float over it, as well, which I quite like.
Yeah, I like when it duets in the second verse when the farty synth duet comes in. I quite enjoyed that, and a little bit of synth clarinet sprinkled over top as well. It's a veritable smorgasbord.
Sorry, what?
Smorgasbord.
Ah, okay, good. Sorry, look, got a little marble mouthed over there. Yeah, it's certainly a lighter take because the synth's kind of so upper register. Um, I think it's a little glitchy in the back half.
Yeah.
Maybe treads water a little bit with its main melody. Um, but fine enough.
Yeah, it doesn't stay too terribly long. And it rolls into track 8 if you're ready, Coop.
Yes, track 8. How do I pronounce this? The Parte.
Yeah. So the main vocalist, not sure who it is, but she has a very interesting voice, but hot damn, the vocal performance does not match the instrumental whatsoever. Especially at the start for like the first minute or so, it's a single note every 5 seconds with a traditional pop performance, vocal performance over top. It's an artistic choice, but it's not a good artistic choice.
Yeah, this is this is an interesting one. The vocalist's name is Yuffie.
A lot of vocal fry on her.
Yes, very intentionally vocal fry.
Yes, I'm not complaining about her performance at all. I'm complaining about the instrumental. It does not match.
Yeah, it's an interesting juxtaposition of like she's giving kind of a little bit of a vocal fry, a bit of a dance performance, where the backing instrument is like very sparse.
Yeah, and it
like
almost,
some light synth and some drums, but
almost kind of like organ concerto-esque as well, but less interesting.
Yeah, it's like concerto is maybe a good term for it. It's really like that for like the first 2 minutes of the song.
Yeah. Then around the minute 30 mark, the vocals drop and it's just instrumental, which is a lot better. And then we get some more instruments come in and we reach the base level of instrumentation the song should have started at. It still doesn't match, but at least there's more. Because, man, that first minute's almost painful.
I'd say first 2 minutes. And I mean, it does end in a fun location. Like the last minute of the song, I actually kind of like, where the bass comes in, the vocals start to like bounce around a little bit with the synth. But yeah, it does not really, I don't know, it doesn't really earn it from the first 3 minutes of it.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. And the chorus vocals are not good. I know I said I wasn't complaining about her performance, but I don't like the intonation. Get it right. It's just it doesn't. I don't like it.
It's a very specific, what's it called? Like the way she pronounces the words are like intentionally like off syllabic.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Oh well, then how about we go to track number 9 if you're ready, Sam?
I am.
Track number 9, DVNO.
Is this a reference to some clothing brand based on the lyrics?
I don't know. I mean, this is another one where it's like a very obvious vocalist in the front.
And I'm not. The vocalist matches, but the vocal performance, I will just say, is kind of odd. I don't know a better word for it. I really like when it gets to the falsetto bits, like at the end of the chorus. But the rest of it is just, I don't know, it's really close to the mic and it just not quite full singing. I'm not sure how to describe it.
It's like very dramatic spoken word singing.
Yeah.
Which isn't like, yeah, it's not terrible per se. And it doesn't even like not match the energy of the song. I don't know, it's like someone's voice is glitching out, but not like through production, but just through like the way they're singing.
Yeah, it's weird. But the sample they heavily use samples in this one. They take the last part of his vocal line and then loop them continuously to become part of the instrumental track. I thought that was a really nice touch.
Yeah, there's interesting production choices on this one. That can't let me hate it, but yeah, I'm not sure if I'm a huge fan of the vocalist. I think I like his vocals less than Yuffie's on The Party.
I like them more, just because at least the track feels coherent. But yeah, take them on their own, I'm not sure. Jumping to track 10, if you're ready.
Yes, track number 10, Stress.
Aptly titled.
Yes. So, fun background about this when I was researching this album is that this album had a actually fairly controversial music video. Or sorry, this song specifically.
Yeah, wasn't it released by Kanye West?
It was like released through his website.
Yeah.
But well, and this was 2007, so this was before Kanye really got controversial.
Well, at least before he made it public, or stopped taking of his meds. Who knows?
Yeah, but this music video itself, which obviously, first off, the fact that they even made a music video for this song specifically is kind of hilarious. If you listen to it, of it, like it's a very stressful song, quite intentionally, obviously. But I watched the music video itself. And I mean, it pairs well with the visuals of essentially. I mean, it's all staged, right? They're actors, but like youths in Paris, just like going around, just smashing things up, like harassing people, setting cars on fire. It's shot like very like real lifestyle, like handy cam. So it's very realistic looking, and people were, I guess, angry at it because there's like thinking it was like promoting like gang violence or something. And basically the justice just said like we wanted to make it a video that was as unpublishable as the song.
Yeah. So the song is, I knew I recognized bits of it, and it's really weird. So it's mainly a rework of Night on Disco Mountain, which was a piece for Saturday Night Fever, the movie. But Night on Disco Mountain is a disco rework of Modest Magorski's, not Modest Mouse, Night on Bald Mountain. More accurately, Nikolai Rimsky-Korsakov arrangement of Night on Bald Mountain, as it was never performed in Modest lifetime, but that's besides the point. But that's why it sounds so familiar, because it's a ancient Russian ancient 1800s, whatever. No, not 1800s. I don't remember. I didn't write that part down, but it's a Modest Mussorgsky piece made disco for Saturday Night Fever, and here reworked to be just unlistenable.
Made disco, made electric.
Yes.
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of love this song.
Cooper, come on, that's my job. What's going on here?
I don't know what about it, but it's like so like it's intentionally like it's basically a panic attack on the disco floor, right?
Yeah. You should go listen to the Night on Disco Mountain from Saturday Night Fever. It's weird listening to it right after this. I'll give you that.
I imagine that's like, yeah, that's going to be a very different experience. I mean, there's a main groove here that pops in that's actually really fun, but there's like this constant like whirling synth in the background that like gets pushed in and out. Like there's like a constant struggle against the groove, and at least this like really like obviously strategically like as much stress-inducing song as possible, where it feels like you're being chased.
Yeah.
In a horror movie.
And what I dislike the most is the weird creaking drill noises at the 2 minute mark. That's just unpleasant. That's not stressful.
I kind of like the squeaking breakdown.
God, what's going on? Did we flip personalities?
I don't know what to say about why I like this song so much. Maybe it's just so audacious. And like I said earlier, that I appreciate Justice's ability to make like what you may consider typically unpleasant noises or off-putting sounds into something listenable. And this song's like taking that to its like breaking point.
Yeah, it's so stressful. The ending is actually quite nice, given the rest of it. They give you some resolution.
Yeah, it helps relieve the stress right at the very end.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what it says about me that I like a song that's trying to simulate having like a tight ball in your chest.
You're just mentally preparing for that future heart attack, I guess.
Yeah, I'm just gonna be sitting in bed listening to this.
I didn't think anything was wrong at first. I normally feel this way when I listen
Listen to
listen to
Stress.
this song. Turns out I was having a heart attack. I didn't realize. But jumping to track 11 if you're ready, Coop.
Yeah, track 11, Waters of Nazareth.
Back to the biblical theme for one song.
And maintaining the energy, quite honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, we start off some really dirty bass, quite harsh electronica, some odd grunting, and someone going to town on a bass drum.
Yeah, and obviously it's this very this kind of short, repetitive synth loop that's kind of the main core of the song.
Yeah, I will say I'm not sure where the biblical imagery is in this one. Maybe something about expectations, because it again this feels to continue the energy from Stress. It's not a calm song, but I don't have an art degree. I'm not smart enough to analyze this one.
Yeah, this one's a lot more, Stress was just like stress inducing. This one's got a little bit more like pump to it.
Yeah,
or like it's pumping you up as opposed to pumping up whatever's chasing you.
yeah. This is pumping you up to get away from the thing chasing you.
Exactly.
But right, I didn't mark down the time code for it, but there was that shift to the left ear, all of the sound to the left ear, the cutoff and pop, and then like a few seconds, like a moment of silence before launching back into it, added some really nice intrigue. It kind of got me into the song more for some reason at that point.
Yeah, I mean, any shifts in the song is super obvious just because the song is so thick.
It's so like dense. There's so much going on.
It really is dense. It's like a super humid day. You can just feel the air. So like just the wall of sound coming at you, any shift of it, like really, you can feel it. And it just kind of lighten up by the end of the song. With the kind of the pipe organ becoming ingrained into it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a fun one. It's got a real harsh rollover at the end, but it's fun.
Well, we can go to the last song if you're ready, Sam.
Yeah, track 12.
So, track number 12, 1 Minute to Midnight. Which, okay, I was saying that Phantom Part 2 sounds like a Weeknd song. This just is a Weeknd song.
Yeah. Some more really nice synth sounds, some slight melodic callbacks to earlier in the album.
Which I didn't mention it too much during our review, but multiple tracks on this album kind of end with this kind of regal sounding callback to the first part of Genesis.
Mm-hmm.
Which kind of acts like a nice little through line throughout the album. And this song ends the same way as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually a little disappointed in this one. There's a little bit of growth, but not really much. It doesn't go too far. And the ending, it was written as if it was going to, you mentioned the rollover. It kind of was written as if it was going to roll over to something else, but then that's it. Like it doesn't have a satisfying end to it. And I checked, it does not roll over to the first track.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. I mean, it's a fine song on the album. It's a bit of a weird closer, especially following Stress and Waters of Nazareth, which were just super heavy songs. This one kind of doesn't carry that energy to, its conclusion.
Yeah, I don't know. For how energetic this whole album has been, the ending just kind of landed like a splat. I was like, really? Do a little bit more.
That's the last song of the album.
Yeah, that's it. So, let's do least favorite first. What would you say your least favorite song is, Cooper? Because I feel like we might agree on this.
I mean, I'm probably going to have to go with The Party.
Yeah.
It got to an interesting place by the end of the song.
But it took a long time to get there.
And 3/4 of the song are just not that fun.
No.
So, I appreciate a song that builds and it has a good payoff, but, it can't only be payoff. So you agree it's your least favorite?
Yes, it's I It doesn't mesh. It's kind of awkward. Even where it ends up once it is good isn't the best. That would be a weak starting point, and that's the ending point. So it's just overall not that enjoyable.
Well, then what's your favorite song, Sam?
I think I'm either gonna have to say "Let There Be Light" or Genesis. And I think it was Genesis, but I think it might be Let There Be Light now. I just love the sound, and it is kind of trancy, and I don't know, it just really pulls me in. That bass line, the bass sound is so nice. I'm a real sucker for interesting synth sounds, is what it is, and this one is chock full of them. But then again, I also really like Genesis, but I've come to not like Genesis as much because comparing it directly to oh crap, what's the Weekend opening song? I can't remember off the top of my head right now.
But what of which album?
The last one we just listened to.
Oh,
Wake Me Up. Comparing to Wake Me Up, Genesis, I think Wake Me Up is a better opening track than Genesis. Now, I didn't think that 2 weeks ago, and I'm sure it'll change again. That's the issue with doing this is, it's going to change, but as of right now, definitely Let There Be Light. I just love all the interesting synth in that. What about you? What's your favorite one?
I'm gonna go with Stress.
You're a freak.
I know. This is
you're
this
not
is
allowed
like...
to make fun of me for liking weird songs anymore.
No, I understand it's not your typical choice,
Mr.
I mean,
Weird Al was my second most listened group in 2024.
Okay, hey, I shared that in confidence. No, this is I wouldn't necessarily put this on as for date night, but it's a super interesting song that completely lives up to its title, and it has so many interesting harsh moments in it that still somehow manage to balance with the melodic elements of it and actually maintain a groove despite trying to induce a heart attack in the listener. I don't know. I just I think it's interesting, and it somehow works. I mean, if I had to go for a more traditional pick, I'd probably pick, like you said, Let There Be Light or like Phantom Part 2. But, there's not a lot of stresses out there. So I got to give it to that.
Interesting. Well, I knew you'd come around to my style of music eventually.
Look, I'm allowed to like some weirdo shit every now and then.
But that's the album. We got to give it a rating now. I believe you did it last time, right, Coop?
I think so. I think it's your turn.
Yes. So here at Audio Shop, we have a car-themed podcast because Cooper is actually Lightning McQueen's son. Little known fact that that was actually a real movie. That was a documentary. They filmed it on the ground. It looks really animated, but that was just a filter they put over it. And Cooper's father is indeed a race car. Don't ask me how that works, but since he wanted to pay homage to his father, who I believe passed in a race in a he died in the Twin Towers, didn't he?
Jesus. Same.
But
he's a car. He can't get in an elevator. He can't use stairs.
Well, he was in the basement at the time, I thought, but
no.
The parking garage. But here at Audio Shop, we have Showroom, tip top, cream of the crop, 5 out of 5. This is the best album. You gotta listen to this. And then Bottom of the Barrel, 1 out of 5, Scrapyard. Ooh, yuck, get it away from me. So Cooper, what would you rate Justice by Justice or Cross by Justice, whatever you want to call it, if you could make a cross symbol sound with your mouth?
I would probably rate it, I'd say like a low like new.
Yeah.
I think there's some good stuff in here. And they're not like a derivative of Daft Punk, but I still think they're not quite as good.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of good stuff in here.
I'd equate it to an early Daft Punk album. Some of those are a little...
I mean, there's like some harshness that you'd find on like their like Daft Punk's Homework,
Mm-hmm.
but obviously there's some unique stuff there as well. Obviously, I like Stress. I think some of their dance cuts are pretty fun. There's some elements of the album that I think are lesser. Like you said, it kind of ends on a thud. Um, the album flows so. Um, and the like the party and Devno with like the vocal or the guest vocalists I think are kind of misses as well. I mean, a good bass and obviously a lot of talent.
Mm-hmm.
Still think it's worth a listen, but certainly not my favorite French electronic duo dance album I've ever listened to before.
Sadly, they're up against some tough competition there.
Oh, what about you, Sam?
I think I'm going to have to agree. I'm going to give it a solid in the middle, like new. I've been listening to this a lot since we listened to the Weekend album, just as a workout track, and it's really grown on me. But like you said, there's a couple of stinkers. The flow's not always the best. They do heavy rollovers a lot, and then just once in a while they'll fade, and it's like, oh, come on, that wasn't deserving of a break in the formula or a fade. So I don't know. It's good. I definitely think you should listen to it, but I'm not convinced it's the best in an album listing format. Definitely feels like you can kind of pluck things around and move them around and you'd be just fine. Now, Phantom 1 and Phantom 2, yeah, don't listen to those out of order, but you could probably just skip Phantom 1 and just listen to Phantom 2. So.
Yeah, the better song, but...
Yeah.
Well, there we go. That's the album.
Now we're going to roll on over to Spare Tire, which is just whatever else we've been listening to. So what about you, Coop? What have you been listening to?
I actually just went ahead and listened through Justice's full discography.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it's only 4 albums.
Yeah.
And granted, obviously, their other albums, their second one, Audio Video Disco, their third one, Woman, and their newest one, Hyperdrama. Obviously, I didn't dig into them as deeply as I did with Justice. I actually mostly listened to them while working out, which fantastic
it's
for,
good
by the way.
Workout music, isn't it?
Like Justice is perfect workout music. The harshness kind of keeps you focused, but it's still got some danceability to it. So I kind of listened through their full discography there. Yeah. Honestly, besides that, not too much new music that I've listened to.
Yeah.
I listened through the album Dry Fruit by Sugar Plant, which is like the exact opposite of Justice, like super mellow. Maybe it was just me trying to get a cleanser after listening to so much
after listening to Stress on
French, Japanese, or French, dance house music.
Yeah.
But I mean, I enjoyed their whole discography. So, what about you, Sam?
Yeah, I listened. I can't remember if we talked about it already, but I did listen through Hyperdrama as well. I cannot believe that Neverender just came out in 2024. I listened to that song and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember hearing this when I was a kid. Maybe it's just because Tame Impala's all sounds the same. But
of course, it's because you were hatched about a year ago and then quickly grew into your current age. Yeah.
But Neverender, man, that is a good song. Holy cow. That's one that I've been looping quite a bit. I could have sworn, I think I need to go listen to some Tame Impala because I think all the songs sounded identical. You can't understand what he's saying, and
I mean, I like Tame Impala.
Yeah. No, I'm not complaining at all. But I'm like, man, I swear I've heard this song before, but I haven't listened to the radio that much since 2024. So it's definitely not that. I don't think they play Neverender on NPR. So.
Huh? Yeah, no, it's a good album. Hyperdrama is probably my second favorite of theirs.
Behind this one?
Probably, I think so.
Yeah, I need to sit and I listened to all of Hyperdrama, but I listened to it piecemeal, so I didn't get the whole experience. And then I've also been listening to a lot of Wayne. Wayne released an EP that we're debating doing. Very good. Actually, a music video just came out for Weather, I believe it's called.
Bad Weather. I just watched it.
Yes, that is such a good song. It's so catchy. I'm searching Wayne. That's not Bad Weather.
You're a Wayne head.
Yes, God damn it. I searched bad weather and it's just about the storm that rolled through the States this weekend.
I mean, makes sense.
Oh, I put Wayne in front of it. You think that would...
No.
I think I'd need to search Wayne Takanaka. Yep. That brings him up. But yeah, he's been putting out some original music, and it is really good. He did Lonely Rolling Star from Katamari Damacy as a Takanaka song. There was the EP was called Tarot. It was about 20 minutes, and it's very good if you haven't listened to it. I highly recommend.
I have not. I'll have to listen through.
But yeah, Bad Weather also. It only has 278 views. Like, that's criminal. Go listen. And the
is criminal.
The album only has 563. Like, this guy's a genius. Go listen to his stuff. It's so good. Sadly, he doesn't really have it on Spotify, so you're gonna have to listen to it on YouTube. But it is quality stuff. Definitely go listen to it. But yeah, I think that's all we got. So if you've liked what you heard and you want to hear some more, you can go to YouTube. Scroll down on the Twitch page. There's a picture of Jeff Lynne. He's the guy with the aviators on. That'll take you to where almost all of our past episodes are. And if you're on YouTube and you want to listen to us live, usually every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern, there's a link in the description. And you can come yell at us in chat and watch me ban the bots that are trying to promote click sites or whatever. And then we also have a Blue Sky.
Yes, you can follow us at Audio Shop Pod, that's POD, at Blue Sky, and we'll let you know what app we're listening to and when we're going to review it.
Yeah. But for now, I believe that's all we've got. So we will see you next time.
See you later, shoppies.
See ya.